Welcome to Jurassic Park.
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
I'm just a fucked up girl who's looking for my own peace of mind.
Welcome to the party, pal.
I'll be back.
I'll have what she's having.
Death has come to your little town, Sheriff. You can either ignore it, or you can help me to stop it.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Hello, I'm your host Jim McLean. Welcome back to another episode of More Than Pixels on a Screen, a spoilerific movie review podcast brought to you by Banterflix. There will be tangents, there will be digressions, but we know that's what you're here for. And a bit of Cilla Black, and a bit of our very own Marty Scorsese. I'm joined, as always, by my lovely co-host, Adam Neeson.
What's up, Jim?
You're back in the saddle. Last week we had Joe.
My presence was felt.
Your presence was felt. Were you jealous?
No, I was just able to be a listener rather than a big talker man for a week.
Well, your presence was definitely felt.
Also, I was able to listen to Joe and touch myself without him putting the restraining order in.
I don't think Joe would do that. If you listen to our Terminator pod that's out next month, I don't think you'll be that worried about Joe putting restraining orders.
Oh?
Just pretend to be Arnie for him.
I'll be Arnie. Is that all right?
It's like having him in the room. It's like, hang on, is that Marty? No. Anyway, so we've loads coming up on this pod. We'll have always a bit of movie news. A couple of trailers have broke. I'm sure we'll have more up-to-date facts on Cilla Black.
Of course.
Yes, that's what people are here for. We are going to be talking about the 1999 cult classic, David Fincher's Fight Club. I think it's going to be an interesting discussion this week because I think we have differing views on this film. And I don't think we've really disagreed on any film we've discussed in this new format of the pod. Really, have we?
I don't think so, apart from when I got lambasted for not liking Mission Impossible.
I mean, that's a different story. That's a different story. How you only give that 3 stars? Like, Brian Mulholland won't come back on the pod now.
It was 3.5, Brian, I'm sorry.
Put it up to 4, he'll definitely be back.
If I watch it again, I'll watch it with Brian, and I'll feel his excitement, and it'll go up half a star.
I don't think you're prepared for that. I genuinely don't think you are prepared for that. So we're going to be talking about Fight Club, and as always, we wrap up with a little bit of generally what we've been watching. At this point, I'm going to ask you, Adam, because it has been 2 weeks since you and I recorded, so I'm expecting at least 60 movies you've watched.
Not that high, because I've been watching a lot, well, not say what, but TV shows, but good TV shows.
Okay.
But the movies I have been watching have ranged between, they're either 5-star or a 2-star. There's been no middles.
Okay.
Stinkers and real hits.
That's what you want. Anyway, I think without any further ado, let's move on to a little bit of banter. I still love that little joke.
I wonder if Colin Geddes, not one, knows that we're making fun of his podcast to him, and 2, will sue us.
I don't think we're making fun of his podcast. I think we're just saying, Colin, he has general banter. That's his now. He owns all general banter. So we're only allowed banter of a non-specific kind.
We should start a podcast, because normally some ladies have podcasts that are about, like, lady things.
Yeah.
Like menstrual pains, maybe. I don't know. I don't listen to them because I'm not a lady. But we should have genital banter, where we come in and I go, Jim,
are you just trying to take every other single form of banter just so all Colin Geddes is left with is general banter?
The general, but if I make specific banter, I come in every week and I go, Jim, how's your balls today? And you're like,
it's still there.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to make it clear, we're not mocking Colin Geddes.
No.
I quite like Colin Geddes as a comedian, but it's just the fact that we're just being very careful. We don't want to infringe on any copyright, so that's why this section of the show is dubbed banter.
And you can put in whatever word you want. Like,
yeah.
When we eventually release merch,
yeah,
it'll be like a wee whiteboard on your t-shirt with an underline, and you can just write in whatever you want.
Whatever you want, whatever you're feeling like for that day. So, St. Paddy's Day has came and went. Mm-hmm. Did you get up to any madness?
I was in work the first half of the day, and then went and met...
Are you still walking like the penguin?
No, I got some compedes from my feetsies.
No. Now, did work pay for that, or did you have to pay for that?
That was a private. I was going to say a private matter. So that came out of my pocket. That would be an
ecumenical matter.
No, my feetsies are okay now. But I went and had some nice Guinness pints in the afternoon.
Oh, how many pints?
I had 2 and I was fucked. So I had to go home.
Mate, I had 1 at home and I was like, woo, I'm 42. I was like, Amber, I'm feeling so drunk and vulnerable and we could have so much fun. And she's like, yeah, just go back and watch your football. Go back and watch your football, sit down and shut up. And I will, this ties into, I think it'll be later on. Well, no, we're talking about St. Patrick's Day. I'm morally outraged. This goes into, we are leaning into movie news now, but I don't know how news it is, so it might be movie olds. But we were talking about this in the TV show. I went to sit down on St. Paddy's Day to watch the beloved classic Darby O'Gill and the Little People, to find that it's not on Disney+.
Is it because would they have to put in the whole, this was culturally acceptable at the time?
Sean Connery's accent, it's spot on.
Yeah.
He did the Irish accent so well, he did it years later in The Untouchables. I don't know for that reason, because usually their get out of jail card is they can go, these scenes were filmed in 57, 59, off the top of my head. I should know this, because we were talking about it in the telly show. But they usually put the wee signpost, or the wee post start saying that this is culturally inappropriate, or this film depicts scenes of cultural inappropriation. I don't think that Darby O'Gill is that bad. And we were talking about this in the TV show because there's a bit of Gaelic in it. Yes, there's a bit of twiddly-dee postcard kind of view of Ireland at that time. I don't think I've seen worse. I mean, well, Songs of the South, I'm looking at you in terms of that. But I was surprised to see that it's been removed. And I think, remember when Disney pulled a lot of their stuff, like the Willow TV series, I think that was included. So I still feel, I talked about it in the TV show, and then in true Jim McLean style, couldn't be arsed actually doing it. I wanted to start a campaign to have Disney bring back Darby O'Gill and the Little People onto Disney+. Because I said it on the TV show, there is a generation that were traumatized by the Banshee in Darby O'Gill and the Little People. Is this the point where you're looking at me, is this the point where you're going to say, Jim, I've never seen it?
I was just thinking about Banshee bones and how nice they are.
I do love Banshee bones.
Now, you have to get the ones that are made by Perry, because they've come back and some of them are made by Tato. Not the same. They probably are the
Tato?
same. The Northern Tato.
The proper Tato.
But you want a nice Perry crisp, because you want to be eating them and sweating as if you've got the Banshee.
Is this like your KP nuts all over again?
As if the Banshee's in the room and you're terrified that you're sweating. That's what I love about Banshee bones.
Yes.
Do you ever have a pack of discos and you open them upside down? It's a real disco in your mouth.
Yes, so to answer my question, I don't think you've seen Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
No.
Good. So you're not traumatized by the Banshee in that. You were traumatized by a pack of crisps.
I think I seen like parts of it as a kid, and when you're like a kid and you see like a movie that's from the 50s, you're like, ugh, not for me.
Well, I think here now you have inspired me, Adam, because we don't condone here dodgy ways of watching films, because you should always go see it either through a streaming service, whatever way, your physical media, or go see it in the cinema if you get the chance. And we're going to start a campaign here so Adam can see Darby O'Gill and the Little People on the big screen. And I'm sure if there's a listener out there, because I know on the TV show, our regular contactee, Lorraine, I don't know if she listens to the pod. She definitely watches the TV show and emails us at all times of the day. She enjoyed very much our little non-April Fool's joke for poor Joe McElroy. Got his hopes up he's going to Hollywood, but we got it wrong. We went to the Hollywood locally with only one L.
Technically, you weren't lying.
No, we weren't lying. We just bent the truth.
Yeah.
But she was talking about she loves Darby O'Gill as well. So I think we're going to start this campaign some point, eventually, when I get round to, setting it up so that you can watch Darby O'Gill.
This time next year, this is the More Than Pixels on a Screen promise, which is, a real loose promise.
Yeah.
That next St. Patrick's Day, me and Jim will present a screening of Darby O'Gill and the Little People somewhere. Could be in my house.
Hopefully through legal means.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So there you go. You heard it here first, listeners. I think with that, we've successfully done banter of the non-specific kind. So let's move on to a little bit of movie news.
That's the news from my films.
And in no way copyright infringing at all.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Don't know what you're talking about, mate. John D. Joe down the street said it was fine.
Yeah. I actually got that commissioned from a guy on Fiverr called Jim Dean and Brian Pearl.
Oh, see, that's how you. That's why you're the clever one in this pod. You've always got us covered. So, pretty busy, kind of, with movie news. So, we're recording this. The new trailer, or the first trailer for Alien Romulus, has just been released, and I can never say the director's name. He did Evil Dead. He's done. What was the one about
Don't breathe. Don't breathe.
Don't breathe. That's the one. Freddie Alvarez, yeah. Freddie Alvarez. So that trailer's just broke. They've been. I've been surprised because I think there was a lot of people morally outraged, and people do get morally outraged in Northern Ireland for many of things. But there was people globally outraged that there was no teaser at the Super Bowl. I thought they might have held off possibly for Alien Day as a big reveal. So this is a teaser. Yeah, I still am worried it's going to go down the nasty route, which is why I didn't like his version of Evil Dead, because it was just too nasty. There was no real sense of humour to it. And I know the original Sam Raimi's Evil Dead is a nasty film, but it does have comedic moments. I don't know. The jury's still out. I'm going to, sit and have a sore arse from having splinters from sitting on the fence. Like the first few shots, it's like, oh, okay, you're calling back to Alien big time with going through the corridor, and then it's camera pans down and there's a blood spattered, is it a
cryopod?
Yeah. So that's all going on, and you're like, okay, you're going down that. And I was saying to you before we start to record, they're definitely focusing, it seems, on face huggers. Just want to give you a wee hug.
Give us a smooch.
Here, let me slip this down your throat, by God. But yeah, I'm impressed in that because I think that's a good way to go.
Yeah.
Instead of focusing on the xenomorph itself, Ridley Scott's producer here, I live in hope that our David's just going to pop up somewhere and be, hello, it's David.
I'm here for my black goo.
You do the blowing and I'll do the fingering. Oh, David, you saucy pup. Because, see, previous podcasts, I quite like Prometheus and I quite like Covenant as flawed films. But I guess that story's never going to be fulfilled. Well, we don't know. As I've said before, maybe a graphic novel or something like that, you might see that story resolving itself. Or not. Ridley Scott's still the producer. He could be like, fuck you. fuck you. I'm just going to edit this and just put David in for no apparent reason. Well, but apologies. Adam, what did you think of Alien Romulus?
Well, I was reading that Freddie Alvarez showed it to both James Cameron and Ridley Scott.
Do you think the first thing Ridley Scott, when he opened the door, was like, fuck you. What do you want? What do you want me to fucking watch?
It's whenever I hear, James Cameron has watched it and likes it, I'm like, because he bigged up those Terminator sequels, something shocking.
He'll take the money we've talked about this on our Cameron retrospective. We've just done The Abyss, and we should at this point remind people that by the time this podcast goes out, next week, the Strand Arts Centre, the Braid Film Theatre are screening that on the 2nd of April. So check that out if you've never seen The Abyss. Absolutely fantastic film. Also go back and listen to the pod Joe and I did, which was a lot of fun. And there was a lot of I Love Lucy references for the kids.
I enjoyed when Joe pulled up a rat race reference.
Yeah.
Specifically
references for the kids. But yes, I always take those, it's fantastic from those. Nobody asked David Fincher, and nobody asked the director, apologies, I know he's a French director, I think, of Alien Resurrection. No one asked his opinion.
Well, even though I like Resurrection, but we'll talk about that at another time.
Yeah, I think we may be doing something next month for Alien Day.
But the movie itself, I think Freddie Alvarez is probably a good choice from what I see from the trailer, because if you take Don't Breathe, which is, close claustrophobic horror, and Evil Dead with its mix of gory blood.
He didn't do the sequel to Don't Breathe.
I think he did.
Because it's a horrible film.
Yeah, that's a movie I walked out of.
Actually, we'll come back to this later on.
Okay. Not out of like, you know, when you're sitting in a theater.
Did you go for a pee and you get confused and you're like, what screen was I in?
I can't breathe. I was working at a cinema time, so tickets are free. So it was like, would I rather sit here and watch this, or would I rather spend
Stare
my
at a
time?
wall?
Yeah, kind of a stare at a wall was the answer. But I think he's a good choice for this, and clearly he's been playing a lot of Alien
Isolation,
because it's very similar. Obviously, it's hard to say that, like, you know, it's quite similar to Isolation because those are similar to the movies. But those movies have androids. We could get some sort of android action in it.
But do you think, coming back to my point, the trailer certainly promises us a lot of facehugger action?
Yes, and I think that's a good idea because a lot of the cast seems to be female, and of course the terror of the facehuggers is being impregnated by something that it's probably going to play on a lot of that horror aspect that I really like.
When you look back to the first Alien film, that was all kind of inflected, and it was male rape. The idea that it wasn't Ash, who was
John Hurt.
John Hurt. Poor old John Hurt. He got face hug.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Email in.
Lorraine, tell us.
Somebody email in and let us know. But yeah, I guess we kind of saw that a little bit with Naomi Rapaz's character and Catherine Watterson in Scott's kind of pseudo prequels, where he kind of gender swapped that, and particularly with Naomi Rapaz, I think she was someone who couldn't give birth.
Yeah.
And then, well, we kind of see all that off camera because that was cut. You know, there's a lot of nasty experimentations. Oh, that David. Oh. But yeah, I think I'm intrigued, but I'm still nervous about it because I still don't know about going down the really gory fest, because when you look back at Scott's original, he kind of modeled it, on Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
Where it was all about the tension and all about the build-up and that idea, John Carpenter talks about, where you pull the elastic band as far as you can go, and then finally when you let it snap, all fucking hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
I'm just worried it's like, if we're coming into this, and actually complete, not tangent, but just lightning bolt moment, I hope we don't have, and it was a problem for Covenant, this ultra accelerated gestation times, which like 5 minutes. Hey guys, I'm a little alien. Then he does a little dance number, if I remember, in Covenant.
No, you're thinking of Red Dwarf.
Oh, no, I'm actually thinking of Spaceballs.
Oh.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my sometime. Hello, my ragtime girl. And John Hurt pops up and he's like, oh no, not again. Mel Brooks, you genius. But that is something, even in the Alien Predator movies, that we don't really talk about.
Although, Alien Predator 1 is a fun watch.
Yeah.
2, like I said before, you can't see it.
What's going on? Shine the torch at the screen. Still doesn't do anything.
I think with Don't Breathe, which is, a decent horror flick, it plays that tension well up until the sort of final 20 minutes of that.
Yeah.
But with Alien, you've got built-in horror from the beginning, so it's going to be a tightrope for Freddy Alvarez, really. Yeah,
well, we're going to have to wait and see till it's out. Then another big bit of movie news, that I've been talking about at Q, I suppose last week. You have said, I think it's already been debunked, just by you personally. You're like, not happening.
Not for me, man.
Not happening. But Aaron Taylor-Johnson has apparently been offered the role of 007, but has yet to accept.
Yeah.
I think he's someone I'll admit I've thought of, particularly after Bulletproof. I was like, I could see you as 007.
Bullet Train?
Bullet Train, not Bulletproof. Apologies. Movie scholar Jim. But yeah, Bullet Train. Apologies. Yeah, I just predicted him way back when he was kick-ass. He'll be Bond, so he will. But I think of the kind of actors that have been mentioned, I think he's a good choice because he's the right kind of age.
Yeah.
Because I was in work and it was, one of my lovely colleagues that reads the news, she was like, has to be Henry Cavill. And you're like, I can see Henry Cavill as Bond, but your problem is now, most of those movies are on a 4-year cycle. So what, Cavill, I think Cavill's maybe nearly 50?
Yeah, 42, 43.
42, 43. So you're already kind of getting to that problem that he's going to be into his late 50s. If you want to follow this path, but like Doctor Who, where it's like 3 series and I'm done, where you want to try and get 4 movies out of them, if it all goes well, you know, I think you need to go younger. And Aaron Taylor-Johnson fits the bill.
Yeah, and I think, because I was thinking about this during a week with Cavill, because he's in a new Guy Ritchie movie, and I love him in Man from U.N.C.L.E., and he's decent in Argyle, you know. But like Superman, you're like, he has...
And, you know, bring it back, Mission Impossible Fallout.
Yeah, he's great. Well, not spoiled, but like, he has bad tendencies in that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you wanted to do Bond, it would be smart to have Cavill and kind of play it like From Russia with Love.
Yeah.
So where you have that spy that's after Bond.
Do you remember, actually, for a little while, there was this talk they were going to have 2 actors cast in the role. They were going to have an older Bond and a younger Bond. They were going to have this kind of series that would kind of, maybe just for one film where it would jump back and forth in time.
That would be good.
Would it though?
The appeal of doing a 60s Bond always sounds nice, because you're kind of like harkening back. You have the old classic themes, the old cars.
But you kind of got that with Spectre. Not with Spectre. No, yes, with Spectre. You kind of got one that arc back, because I remember talking about it at the time, back in the days when I got calls to be in Radio Ulster. Have me back, please, Gamo. But I remember coming on to talk after Spectre was released, and I was saying, you know what, it's at times, as flawed as Spectre was, it was quintessential Bond.
Yeah.
Like, there's the sequence, if I remember right, on the train, that just is like, as you say, is arcing back, or calling back, I should say, to From Russia with Love.
Yeah. And even, is that the same one with the Komodo dragon?
Yes.
The thing that's kind of back to classic Bond.
And now Dave Bautista as well.
With his thumbnails.
Yeah.
I've got steel thumbnails. But Aaron Taylor-Johnson, sure, I don't know. He is...
Well, if you were casting it, who would you think?
Paul Giamatti.
Keep the eye from, please keep the eye from...
The Holdovers.
The Holdovers, that's the movie, yes.
I don't know. Who's popular these days? Fucking Tom Holland? You're like, ugh.
No, Tom Holland doesn't have to have every single role ever.
According to the internet.
That's true.
I would have liked to have seen, after No Time to Die, what do you call the lady?
Jodie Whittaker?
No, Lynch. Marshawn Lynch, is it?
Yeah.
Is it Marshawn Lynch? No, I'm saying that wrong, am I?
Oh, Lysana Lynch.
Lysana Lynch. I would have liked to have seen a movie with just her as 007.
Yeah, I think that would be intriguing in the sense that you would, I guess, but I guess then your flaw with that from a producer's point of view is that you're then tied to everything that's kind of happened in that universe. You've got Blofeld dead.
True.
So I think if you retool it, because actually on Q last week, I think it was the week before the Oscars, they were all talking about, remember Cillian Murphy was being considered, and I don't see him as Bond.
He would never take a British
Do you know what
spy
I
role.
would love, though? He would be a cracking villain. Like, could you imagine? I think he'd be a great choice. You don't need the ball cap, Cillian, as Blofeld.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you'll know this. I think I made this fact I stated this fact on the TV show. Christoph Waltz, around the time he won 2 or 1 Oscars? He's definitely won an Oscar for Django.
I'm going to say he's only won 1.
So I'm nearly certain around the time he won the Oscar, I think he got cast as it's not Blofeld, we promise, but our movie's called Spectre and he's the villain. Promise. And then 2 weeks later, after the film was released, like, yeah, he's Blofeld. Sorry, we tried to dupe you. Like, you didn't dupe anyone, guys.
They did the In the Darkness. It's not Con.
Yeah, come on, Barbara. You know, we all know he's Barbara. Well, sorry, come on, Barbara. We all know that he's going to be Blofeld. I think he'd be a cracking choice for that. And I don't know, maybe it would be a good decision if they are going to recast and retool. Let's not have Spectre front and center in the next one. Let's maybe, I don't know.
there's a good comic run, and I know this is like bringing it back to Northern Ireland, but this is where we're from. Hi, everybody. There's a good comic book run by Warren Ellis of James Bond that is like set in the present and the past and involves the Troubles, like spies.
Did you join the Ra?
No, I think it's the UDA.
Okay.
Not to fucking summon them on the podcast, but
here they are now.
Marty, no. But I think, you know, a much smaller, it doesn't have to be bombastic.
Yeah.
You bring in like the proper like Bond back to Bond, but do people expect the whole he gets the girl, he goes on a speedboat, you know, he blows up the island sort of story now?
I thought Christmas only comes once a year.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
I want the Beast
I
Richards
was
back.
frantically looking, because apologies, I can never remember the name of the actor. But if I was going to cast Bond, I know for a little while, I thought Henry Goulding would be a great choice.
Oh, Snake Eyes?
Yeah, and the reason being, and I know it's a flawed era for Bond, but it's the Bond I grew up with. I think Henry Goulding, he can do all the action stuff, but he could also throw back to the Roger Moore eyebrow, did I era, that type of thing.
Everybody that plays Bond always has strong features, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's always something that you're like, that's their...
So John Cena is who you're saying.
Oh, fuck.
That'd be amazing.
John...
Just, I would love that if Barbara Broccoli, if you're listening, and zero fucks was given, just have John Cena, but he has to play Bond as Peacemaker.
Oh, yeah. That'd be great.
In the Peacemaker costume.
That'd be so good.
Yeah, we're not going to kill the franchise at all.
I was playing Mortal Kombat 1 last weekend, and they released a Peacemaker DLC where you can play. Hilarious. He's like shooting people in the dick. He plays his shotgun as a guitar. What a game.
That's how you entertain Adam Neeson. But something that you find even more entertaining is your regular, well-researched feature that celebrates the Duchess of Liverpool.
Welcome back to Cilla Back in Black, Cilla Black. I can never get that right. Where we celebrate, Jim got it wrong, the Duchess of the Merseyside.
Merseyside.
This week, I come to you with a tale straight from her autobiography, which I talked about last week. Go back and listen to that podcast. Or 2 weeks ago, sorry. Did you know that Cilla Black, whenever she was younger, I always start these, when she was younger, did you know that, she was a bit of a looker, Jim? Always say this. She had it all. Her perm, her teeth, her fucking terrible shell suits she wore every week.
Just when you want in a woman.
She had it all. But do you know the tales of, who is it that's famously slept with 1,000 people? Ric Flair. No, 10,000 people, was it?
Was it not the actor from Coronation Street? Ken Barlow?
Did he sleep with 10,000
Yeah, I
people?
think he did, yeah.
Fuck.
I interviewed his son too.
Oh, that's right.
Because his son plays Bruce Wayne's dad in Batman Begins.
That's right.
William Loach.
William Loach, yeah. Big Bill Loach. Well, Cilla Black, she was, she had it back in the day too, but it was all kept under the carpet, and I'm winking at Jim, because she was so beloved in the city of Liverpool. But there was actually... black field club that you would go to, and everybody that goes in, they would all have a code name. So it was always like a letter of the alphabet. They would all have a code name to keep their identity secret. And they thought, we should make a movie out of this, but making it about like sex doesn't really appeal to the kids in the 90s. So they thought they would make it about an undercover alien operation called Men in Cilla Black. I wrote a load of them in one day, and now I don't have any left. So what comes out next week will be
all that research. And I didn't know Will Smith also wrote that song about her as well.
Well, that's the only, the only other love in his life apart from our Jada.
Yeah,
is Jada his wife?
I think so.
Pinkett Smith, it is.
Yeah,
Fish Mooney from Gotham.
Yeah, keep her name out of your mouth?
No.
You know, we're usually worried about Marty barging into the studio. We don't want Will Smith as well. So, yeah, 5 weeks in, Adam, I think that feature's going strong.
You might say so.
We'll have to see what the listeners think, but hopefully, in the 5 weeks since we've retooled the pod, not one person's got in touch about it.
That's it. No news is good news.
That's true. No one's morally outraged to go. Excuse me, would you please stop talking about Cilla Black?
As soon as you get an email and I get the one-word text, Adam, and in the attachment, Cilla Black's family has heard what's happened.
Yeah, okay. So I think with that, great feature, as always, to say the nation is talking about it. We shall move on and we'll talk about this week's movie. So we're always going to alternate between a new release and a cult classic. Next week, I know we're going to be talking about Ghostbusters Afterlife. No, next week we're going to be talking about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. I know by the time this pod is out that it has been released and is in cinemas. By the time this is released, we will have both seen it.
It's not looking good, Jim.
But we're going to wait until the next show to talk about, because we're going to have someone on from Ghostbusters Ireland to talk about it, who'll by no means be biased in any way.
Absolutely. I hope they come in and you're like ripping their Ghostbuster suit off. I can't do it anymore.
But busting makes them feel good.
Do you ever hear the remix of the Ghostbusters song where they take every reference of Ghost out of it?
No.
I'll play it in the drive home. It's class.
Brilliant. Okay. So we're going to be talking about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire on next week's pod. So this week I thought, because it has been re-released in cinemas, I think it's definitely in Cineworld, if I can recall. But David Fincher's 1999 cult classic, Fight Club, written by Chuck Palahniuk. And I don't know, because you and I will say it from the get-go, I think have differing views.
Yeah.
Well, I don't actually think we do. Sorry, listeners. I think if we were reviewing this close to when the film was out in the early 99, as I say, so I was watching this in the noughties. I just thought this was the best thing since sliced bread. Now I'm 42, I'm watching it, and I'm like, oh, Jim. And I actually have a confession about something we'll come back to about this. But yes, but before you and I get into sharing our thoughts on Fight Club, I think we'll play a clip.
What do you want me to do? You just want me to hit you?
Come on, do me this one favor.
Why?
Why? I don't know why. I don't know. Never been in a fight. You?
No, but that's a good thing.
No, it is not. How much can you know about yourself? You've never been in a fight. I don't want to die without any scars. So come on, hit me before I lose my nerve.
Oh, God, this is crazy.
So go crazy. Let her rip.
Hey, I don't know about this.
I don't either, but who gives a shit? No one's watching. What do you care?
Wait, this is crazy. You want me to hit you?
That's right.
What, like in the face?
Surprise me.
This is so fucking stupid.
So that's a clip of Fight Club. Just hit me, Adam.
Just boys being boys.
Boys. Bad boys. What you gonna do? Yes. So, Fight Club, a film I do remember it being released. So 99, as we say, there was a lot of controversy. A lot of people worried about the film's message. Now, I'm not quite sure when the book was released off the top of my head. I would imagine it's 90s as well. I don't know if it was as far back as the 80s. This is how good a research I've done. So we have the narrator, we have Tyler Durden, we have Operation Mayhem, and Meatloaf with some big baggy man tits.
Big bosom. He was the Sydney Sweeney of the 90s.
He was indeed. And we haven't even mentioned Sydney Sweeney in Sexy Nun movie. Was it not Immaculate?
Yeah,
it is Immaculate.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yes, she is.
I seen her. I was on the bus today. She was driving the bus. No, and she was doing like a horror quiz, and she said she's a big fan of Twin Peaks. So already I was like, never mind your
dream wife material.
Your rear breasts.
Yes.
I like your brain as well.
And we don't have Sydney Sweeney in that, but we do have Helena Bonham Carter as Marla Singer. So we were looking for films to discuss, and I had seen somewhere. I think I might have been listening to the Kermode and Mayo podcast, and Kermode was talking about that being re-released, and I went, oh, maybe we could talk about that, because I was going to say, Adam, why don't we just review RoboCop 2? Because the last time we got talking about RoboCop, I ended up watching RoboCop 1, 2, 3, and one of the really terrible TV movies, which is not very good.
I also watched RoboCop 2, but sure, we'll talk about that later.
I think a future pod about RoboCop 2, the unsung, underappreciated sequel that it is. But then I was listening to that pod, listening to Kermode Mayo, and I said, oh, maybe we can talk about Fight Club. I messaged you, and your exact words were...
I hate it.
So I'm intrigued as to, have you always hated it? Or is this a case of the more you've watched it? Because that's kind of what's happening to me. And it's not that I hate it. I just have now in 2024 so many issues about the kind of, it's glorification of toxic male culture. That's as highbrow as you're going to get in this podcast.
It's the cinematic equivalent of the Jackass crew. And I to start, I didn't always, well, I did hate it from when I seen it, but the more...
So when are you talking about, like, when did you first see this?
When I was like 16, so like about 10 years after it released.
So this had the exact opposite response. You hated it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
I just didn't find Fincher as a director very interesting, and I actually set myself a task last year that in the space of like 2 days, I watched everything he ever made, including all of his music videos and his...
Because he made his debut on... I think that's... we were talking earlier on about Alien Romulus. He made his debut on Alien 3 after all those music videos. And he nearly decided, as a result of that and his experience of working that, to like, no, fuck that, I'm not going to be a director.
Yeah, and then he made the game. And we're like, sweet. Fincher, to me, is a complicated director because his newer stuff I'm more a fan of, because it seems like he had such great ideas in the 90s, but technology hadn't caught up with him yet of how he was going to do these things. But with Fight Club, because I was of a younger age than you, Jim, of course the Fight Club spoiler, we're going to spoil it here, that Tyler Durden isn't a real person the whole movie, was just one of those, like, you go into the movie and you already know this. And sometimes that's fine. Sometimes it's fun. It's like Sixth Sense if you go in watching it knowing that Bruce Willis is a ghost. Fuck, how many films can you spoil here? It's a sled. Dunstan does check out. You kind of go into it being like, they're trying to pull the wool over my eyes with this fucking Tyler Durden shit, but it's not doing it for me.
See, I don't think they are. The more I watch it, and particularly in those early scenes, when you kind of see the little flickers of Tyler Durden appearing, the second time, like the first time you watch it, I don't think they're trying to pull the wool over you. I've seen films, and I can't think any off the top of my head, that have tried that similar idea of maybe... I know it's a different concept, but something like maybe Shutter Island, Scorsese. Oh, who knows? Maybe Marty might come in. But
I hear a door opening in Castle Street.
He's like, them boys talking about me. But the idea of, as you say, the kind of pulling the wool over your eyes, the double bluff. I've seen other films doing the idea, I guess, of imaginary friends. And there was a film I watched, I've forgotten it completely.
Joker.
Yeah, well, not talk too much about that. Any opportunity Adam gets, they always brings up Joker. But I don't think they're trying to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. And I guess when you're coming in, when you've got fans of Chuck Palahniuk's source material, the book, they're going to already know that anyway. So I don't know. I mean, I know where you're coming from. They think the big reveal is much cleverer than what it is. And I'm just wondering, though, does it appear that way because Fincher is a really stylish director?
Yeah. I think there's a better reveal in the movie that's not really said, but I was picking up on it, and I've seen a couple of people online talk about it, that I think that Marla also doesn't exist.
You think so?
Because she doesn't talk to anybody. At least some parts of her story, I think, take place in the narrator's head. Because the only person she ever talks to that's not part of like the Project Mayhem thing is there's the waiter in the restaurant. That's the only bit. And then at the end, the Project Mayhem guys bring her up the stairs. But all of that is post the narrator shooting himself. So that could easily just be made up as well. So if you watch the movie, like I did the other day, she's never noticed by anybody. She doesn't talk to anybody else. The only other person she ever talks to is Tyler Durden, who is not real.
Just way to, double down on the spoiler front.
And I just think that if that is true, that's a very clever twist on Fincher's part. If it's not...
But I think this is fan theories, though. And fan theories, sometimes you go, oh yeah, it's like all the people who want to connect all the Disney movies. And you're like, yeah, you're just connecting what you think works well. Because, yeah, you've mentioned there's the scene with the waiter, doesn't you? You mentioned it where she's talking about the food. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. If you didn't have that one scene with the waiter, it would work. Because nobody ever mentions her. Nobody ever, like, in the group meetings, she never talks in any of the group meetings. Obviously, that's part of the whole...
She does, surely.
She doesn't? I was, like, purposely watching it this time to be like, does she talk to anybody?
This is like Joker, when you were like, I've watched it, and then hang on, did she talk? I'll go back and rewatch it. Here, maybe in between I'll rewatch Joker as well.
Maybe this time he won't shoot De Niro in the head. Just wanted to spoil another movie. But yeah, looking now, being an older guy, the whole like Project Mayhem stuff just seems so juvenile.
So can I at this point then intervene?
Okay.
So I think I've talked about this on this podcast before. Mm-hmm. So my mum and dad used to have a caravan in Clockey, County Down. I'm being very wary here because I don't know what the kind of legal ramifications would be. I think enough time has passed, and I don't think it was of that serious a matter. But what I loved, and I have so many fond memories about being down at that caravan, is because we watched so many movies that you felt like, I shouldn't be watching this. So we watched like Goodfellas, we watched Fight Club, we watched Mean Streets. We also watched stuff like Phantoms. My mate from Linlithgow, who I know listens to the pod, he messaged in a couple of weeks ago. He and I still talk about Phantoms and have vivid memories of watching it in a tent outside the caravan. We had taken a whole TV and had to have it plugged in, and we were making too much noise. My mum just like turned it off at the plug. She's like, boys, you're going to sleep now. That's it done. But we haven't seen the end of Phantoms. What happens to Ben Affleck?
And of course, he is the bomb.
He is the bomb in Phantoms, of course. But I remember watching Fight Club, and then we started this like, we could do our own little Project Mayhem. So as far as it got, right, so the two things of pure chaos that we did, we went on to the local golf course and stole all the flags.
Okay.
And wrote, we wrote in one of the sand dunes, Operation Mayhem, or
you did.
Project, we did. We wrote Project Mayhem in one of the sand dunes just to freak people out. And we also went to a neighbouring caravan park and we stole their football nets because they had proper football nets. I think that was just an excuse more than anything. So we could be like, but the movies made me do it. But yeah, my younger self, we did have our own little Project Mayhem club in Clockey, County Down.
But
and now I am very ashamed of that.
And is that how you feel about the movie as well, watching it? That, like, watching it back then and then watching it now, are you just kind of looking at these guys being like, fucking losers?
Why didn't they just go and fucking steal some golf club or steal some golf flags? Yeah.
We're wiping tapes and Blockbuster. You're like, see, even that bit when they're wiping.
That's too far. That's too far. Like, I mean, if that had been me and I'd have got that and that was a blank tape, I'd be like, nah, boys, you've went too far.
When I was watching this with my missus, and she was like, what are they doing in Blockbuster? And I was like, they're using a big magnet to wipe the tapes.
I thought you were going to say, what's a Blockbuster?
Well, that as well. I was like, they're wiping the tapes with a big magnet. She was like, what? And I was like, oh, I'm old. That just sounds like my girlfriend's 4. What's that tape at, Tom?
She's not, though.
No. She's not. 26. Happy birthday.
Just a baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the scene for me. That's too far. But I I don't know, when I watched it when I was younger, I did like it, but I think it's all the style and the kind of the humor. I mean, the humor still comes through, like that sequence where they're getting the fat for the soap.
Yeah,
they're going from
liposuction
place, then it all kind of fall, like they get it stuck.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, I think it's definitely Fincher's funniest film, and I think a lot of people misconstrued the movie as a satire. A lot of people take it on face value.
Yeah, and a bit actually. I know I'm bringing it up, and dare I even allow myself to let you indulge in your fascination. A bit like with Joker, this worry about kind of this moral panic about what Joker represented and what that people going to watch that film, the message they would take.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, don't stand in fucking steps singing to Gary Glitter songs. You'll be all right, kids. That sense where I think people watch it and completely get the wrong message.
Yeah.
And I do think, in a way, the film, the humor and the satire, I think, is lost a little bit in all the style. Like, even from those opening sequences that you now come to expect with David Fincher.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of the sequence where it's literally, if I remember right, it's the gun, isn't it? The opening sequence is literally the gun shot, and then it's calling back to that later on.
Yeah.
I think that was the point where I did love the film. It's like they have a little bit of callback humor.
Yeah.
It's like, still can't think of anything? No. No. And plus, I'm going to be honest. I know I've got a man crush now on Ryan Gosling from the Academy Awards. Still, every so often, just like have to go on and stick it to a video just to make myself smile. But Jesus, Brad Pitt is an attractive. Not when he's, fighting and got the shit kicked clean out of him, and also the other bit where he's covered in blood and kind of like trying to get the guy that wants to shut down Fight Club, and just like going full kind of crazy. He's a bit of a dreamboat. That leather jacket. Many of people I know were obsessed, not with Tyler Durden, but with that jacket.
Are you? Because he's attractive in both ways. But when he has the hair or when he has the skinhead,
I don't really like him as much when it's the skinhead.
I know, the hair kind of makes it, doesn't it?
It's more like 12 Monkeys, Brad, and that. And I love 12 Monkeys, but it's like, come on.
The blonde tips.
Yeah, dreamboat.
Gorgeous.
When, what would you want to give, ass or the crotch?
Ass.
Crotch for me.
I think, here's also me being like, I've got a theory about the movie. Do you know when he meets Tyler Durden on the plane?
Mm-hmm.
I think that Tyler Durden is real. And every other Tyler Durden is in his head. I think he met him on the plane, and that personality got stuck in his head. Now, I've not read
Adam's hot take. Let him just drop the mic there and see. Interesting ideas. I don't know. So, I mean, you even get to the point where, like, the Ferrari, or it's just red, so I'm assuming it's a Ferrari, gets stolen. That's a real Tyler Durden?
Yeah.
The phone call is real?
No. Because the phone call is kind of the switch into not real. When I think he rang him, but when Tyler Durden rings back, it's now the personality.
Okay.
Rather than the actual person.
Okay. I think we should start this as a new feature, Adam's Theory.
It's going to be hard when we're reviewing Mr. Bean's Holiday. Like, I think he's an alien, Jim.
No, I think we could just do it each week and doesn't have to be any connected to the film we're discussing. Just a random film. This is my theory.
Just a hot take about anything.
Yeah, a hot take about, not a hot take, but just this is my theory.
Well, we're doing Ghostbusters next week.
Yeah.
I'll have a hot take on Ghostbusters because it's Frozen Empire. Hot take, melting the
see what you did there?
See what I'm doing it.
See what you did. Love the way I'm just giving you features. just like slowly just turn into the Adam with a little bit of Jim show.
No. It's equal part plus Marty, don't forget.
Yeah. Well, Marty hasn't got here yet. But who knows? Maybe it might not come this week.
You never know.
I was actually having a wee chat with him last week about maybe to make sure he's not bursting in, but maybe do a wee ad for the on the pod, because we need money.
Yeah, of course.
We need money, but not like Tyler Durden. He says, like, we don't need money and we want to destroy all the credit cards. You're like, part of me is that, weirdly, I think if you released Fight Club now, I think it would be this sense of, like, in the cost of living crisis that we're in now, and this sense of the haves and the haves not, the haves and the have not. I think it might be more controversial now. I don't know. I sense that I have problems with the toxic masculinity that is on display throughout the film. And, Even poor Jared Leto.
Oh God,
he ain't pretty no more. I always forget Jared Leto's in that, and then you're like, oh, there he is.
I know. Like, I guess Panic Room After.
Would that have been his debut on screen? Maybe not.
I think he was in something before, but this is like the run of Leto where it's like Panic Room, Requiem for a Dream, where they're actually like, he could be a good actor.
Yeah.
And then it just went all downhill.
Yeah. Oh, poor old Jared.
But I think if you did it like a remake of this now, and you set it in 2024, 2025, do you know the scene where it's like IKEA going through the room?
Yeah.
It would be like Funko Pops, just like pricing Funko Pops.
I think this is just you.
Yeah, that's just my house. Being like, don't be taking my Sam the Eagle Funko Pop, it's worth money. And then I think like, it's a different time, but we're still having... In the 90s, like they say in the movie, this is the generation of men that didn't really have anything to fight for. And we're kind of in that now, come 2024, where people are fighting on the internet simply because people like Jordan Peterson or Joe Rogan are telling everybody that everything's woke. And you have this generation of young men that are against trans and people of color just because they're led by these monstrous men,
lizards,
the lizard men, but / Tyler Durden. So if they were going to do a modern angle, that's sort of the way to do it. But that's honestly at this point too depressing a subject to even make a movie about.
Yeah, that's very true.
I haven't seen Alex Garland's Civil War yet, but I imagine it touches on similar things. Your Trump era America. But I don't know. It is like a 99 such a good year for cinema because it's like encapsulates the feeling of the 90s and also looking into the future. And
they didn't need a DeLorean.
And Fight Club is kind of like the last bastion of the 99 before. Imagine seeing this and then going to see The Matrix.
Head just be exploded.
Yeah, he'd be like, what is...
Because funny, we talked about The Matrix because throughout March on the TV show, we've been doing a Women Make Film season, and just kind of all kind of really, I'm sure there's people watching it where kind of those type of people you were talking about earlier on, those kind of like are against trans and trans community, LGBTQ plus community. It was Caroline North, who I know is writing a book, I should say, about Chuck Palahniuk as well. We had hoped to get her on. I just didn't get round to asking her. Apologies. We will in the future. We definitely will in the future. But we're recording slightly ahead of schedule because for various reasons than what we intended. This was a bit last minute. So we will hopefully get Caroline on. We will hopefully get Caroline on at some point to talk about that. Because I'm interested in see what she'd think of that because being a woman. But she, as I say, she had picked The Matrix for the start of our Women Make Film season. And you go, yeah, what an amazing film. It stands the test of time. And there's the odd little bit of special effects, but issues, and you're like, that's a bit wonky. But, they hold up better than the sequels.
Yeah.
Although I do love Matrix Resurrections.
I love all four of them.
I think 2 and 3 would be a great movie, a single movie, if you just condensed it.
Yeah.
I just think Resurrection, it's at its most interesting when it's doing its own thing. It's at its most boring when it's like, oh yeah, we've got to go back to Zion and all that stuff. And you're like, oh, must we?
Yeah.
Must we? But, that's just me, Adam. So I think, I thought there would be more of an argument. I thought it might have been fisty pops, fisty kind of cuffs, because I thought it might have been actually hit me, fucking hit. But I think we disagree and agree on certain things, but I don't like you're saying you really hate it.
I hate it. Like, I'll say this, it's not a bad movie. Like, if you're listening to this going,
I think if you're watching that for the first time, go, this is David Fincher, you might go far.
He's a good pup. It is a good movie, and if you're a fan listening to this of Fincher or Fight Club and thinking that fucking Neeson boy talks some shit, fair enough. I just don't like the movie and what it kind of stands for, and I was never that kind of kid that a movie like that didn't revolutionize my mind into thinking. Because I'm a bit younger, I kind of had like Jackass and like Viva La Bam to kind of be like, this is the revolution, the silly boys kind of sort of
lads.
Yeah, kind of revelation in life that made me the man I am today.
I think we should do, instead of millennials, we should have the Viva La Bam era, the Viva La Bam generation.
Did you know Bam Margera is coming here?
No, because I will actually say this. Remember many years ago there was going to be a big con before the Belfast con. It's actually in Lisburn at the Econ Centre. There was going to be one on the Boucher Road, and I had been in touch, or the organizer had been in touch with me foolishly for me to host the Q&As, and Bam was going to be one of the guests. And I remember kind of going, oh, I don't know how that would go. So part of me was secretly relieved whenever that was cancelled. It's like, because I was intrigued, because Google, Bam Margera, and just kind of think all the kind of stuff that's going on with him. He's been through a lot since the death of Ryan Dunn.
Yeah.
There's no getting away from that. And he's maybe not in the best of terms with the rest of his jackass crew. We'll keep it at that. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of terrified of what I was going to sit down and interview with him about kind of what we can't, and then you're going to have audience questions. But at the same time, I'm ultimately disappointed because Brian Cox was going to be one of the other guests, and you were like, I'd love to sit down with him. Not the science one, the actor one.
The fuck off.
Yeah, fuck off. Fuck. Not Ridley Scott. I just want to clarify.
Although Brian Cox would play a good Ridley Scott.
Oh, here. Oh, shit. Fuck, where's my phone? Where the...
This is very unprofessional, Jim.
Sorry. Where the fuck have I put that?
Hello, Jim. You were looking to speak to me about some advert for that wee show you do.
Yeah. Hi, Marty. It's not the best of times. I don't know what it is about you, Marty, but I'm recording the podcast here.
Here's Jim. I'm wild sorry. I'm always interrupting you when you're doing that wee podcast. You'd think we never spoke any other time other than when you're doing that wee show. Because, I do love the movies just as much as the wee cousin in Hollywood.
Yeah, Marty. Yeah, we know you love the movies. We've talked about that. We've talked. You seem to always be coming into this bloody show, But Marty. Yeah, as I said, it's not the best time to talk.
Here, Jim. That wee Adam fella with you.
He is. Yeah.
Marty.
Marty, you're on speakerphone.
All right. What about you, Adam?
Doing well, Marty. Thanks for asking.
Good. Here, will you tell that uncle of yours to come and pick up his meat parcel? If he doesn't come and get it, I'll have to use my particular set of skills to come down to Ballymena and beat the shit out of him.
Marty, come on now. This is not the time or place to be talking about that. Adam doesn't really fall out with his uncle. He's sitting here,
Jim, that cub's not right. Loves that Cilla Black girl a wee bit too much. It's not right, telling you. I don't know what he sees in her. She's always in here asking me for a Laura mate.
Marty, Cilla Black's dead.
What?
Yeah, Marty. She's dead.
When?
Yeah, 2015, Marty. I'm pretty certain Cilla Black, like Adam, you would know, Cilla Black's dead.
Yeah, Marty, they put her in the ground.
Well, who the fuck have I been selling all them sausages to? Jim, I'm going to have to go here. We'll talk about this wee advert another time. I'm going to go and chat to Bobby and Pesci here and see if we can find out what's going on with this Cilla Black girl.
Okay, Marty. Thanks for calling. Bye. We'll speak to you soon. Bye.
Thanks, Marty.
Fuck, Adam, I'm really sorry about that. Intriguing though.
Yeah.
Intriguing. What's there's clearly a Cilla Black impersonator going about Belfast.
Well, Jim, I didn't want to say on the phone, but I've been getting free sausages for the last 6 months by putting in fake teeth and a big bonnet wig.
Well, we'll maybe not tell Marty, because I know we're hoping to maybe do a wee advert with him.
He doesn't actually listen to this. He only really knows when he comes on board.
That's true. Anyway, look, I'm really sorry about that. But I think with that, Adam, I think we'll move on and just talk generally about some of the movies we've been watching other than Fight Club. Time for your big moment, Adam.
The big screen or small, we've seen it all. It's what you've been watching. Cha-ching.
There we go. There's what we pay you the big bucks for. And maybe if, the ad comes through from Marty, you might be actually be able to afford to record it. You have to do the pressure of doing it live.
I was actually downloading the other day, music apps on my phone and tinkering about with...
LimeWire, reference for the kids.
Tinkering about with stuff to be like, coming up with tunes, coming up with like songs. Turns out, Jim, not very good at it.
Are you not?
No. It was more like just hitting the ding, 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 and me going, what you've been watching, ding.
Hey, I'm sure there's less talented people than you have had top 10 singles.
Jessie J.
Jesus. So, per old Jesse J, I apologize. So, you were teasing us earlier on about kind of what movies you've been watching. I'm kind of intrigued with mine. I've seen something in the cinema, because we're talking about in the TV show, that I have mixed feelings about, and that is Ethan Coen's Drive Away Dolls.
Yes.
LGBTQ plus kind of queer road movie. I was disappointed by it. It's just all over the place. And I know the Coens do this, and this, more importantly, is only one half of the Coens. And although Ethan's working with his wife, Tricia Cook, who I think has been their editor for a couple of films. No, I don't know if it's all of them, but definitely for a long time. She has been their editor. And have you seen it?
No, I was meant to and didn't get a chance.
Because I know you were talking earlier on about walking out of the cinema.
Mm-hmm.
We had James Oliver on the TV show this week who walked out of the film after 45 minutes.
Oh, really?
And I mean, I didn't take umbrage with him. We kind of talked about in the show. So I said, like, well, you can only review 45 minutes of that film. There's another, like, nearly 40 minutes that you can't talk about. Could have been the best 45 minutes or so, because it's, what, an hour and 20 minutes or so, I think, in length. So it's a short movie. It's just a bit all over the place, and there's been similar movies. Like, I know the one I mentioned in the TV show, whether it made the cut or not, was Booksmart.
Mm-hmm.
That I think, okay, it's not a road movie of sorts, but whilst there is female involvement behind the camera and the writing, it just feels a wee bit leery at times and a bit voyeuristic. And I don't have a problem with that, and I don't have a problem with the fact that there's a queer lens or a queer tint to the lens. It's just a bit of a mess, the film. Pedro Pascal is there. He's a collector of very strange things.
Oh.
We'll not talk about it. We'll not spoil. I'm not like you. We have Matt Damon as well in this. So it's a really good cast. And it's just a bit of a mess. And reading about it, Ethan Coen is talking about this being the start of a trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I mean, I love the Coens. But for every great movie they do, every so often they goof off.
Yeah.
This feels like a goof-off film. It feels a bit like Burn After Reading, that kind of sense. But it's, as much as I didn't even love that movie, I mean, it's just all over the place. And I think is it Margaret Qualley? I
Yes.
think is the lead. She's got this weird kind of Matthew McConaughey kind of Texas drawl. I don't know if it works. I wouldn't be raving about it. Seen it in the cinema. We talked about it in the TV show. Say James Oliver walked out after 45 minutes. I think that's a bit harsh on the movie, but it is a mess.
Are you a fan of, and I'd love to screen it, the Coen Brothers movie, The Man Who Wasn't There?
I don't think I've seen it in a long, long time.
The
That's the
Billy
Bob Thornton.
I fucking love that movie. I listen to the score to that movie all the time. It's fucking fantastic.
I think I watched that maybe in around when it was released, or maybe on DVD. I think it's on the Coen's box set, maybe or a Coen's box set. I mean, there is more to the Coen Brothers than The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
And even not, I was going to say Bone Tomahawk, but it's not Bone Tomahawk. That's a completely different film. What was it when Jeff Bridges won the Oscars? Won a lot of the Oscars. The Western. They're pseudo-Western. True Grit.
True Grit.
True Grit.
I love A Serious Man.
Yeah, Serious Man. But again, it's kind of hinting at the kind of goofy kind of Coens. It's not them being dead straight. I don't know. Maybe when they stop working with Roger Deakins.
Yeah.
Because Inside Llewellyn Davis was kind of the serious kind of Coen, but it just looked really weird because it wasn't shot by him. And I know that Joel Coen, isn't it Joel Coen?
Mm-hmm.
I know Joel Coen, he went off and did The Tragedy of Macbeth with Denzel Washington. Was that last year? Was it the year before? It was, I think, Apple TV. I think that was released.
Whatever year Will Smith won.
So last year. No, year before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago that was out, because I remember that being out. And I mean, that's an amazing film, and you're like, okay, it's good. Ethan Coen has talked about kind of losing his interest in doing films, and if, as I said in the show, it's kind of a double-edged sword. If this is a movie that gets him back and say, look, I want to get back and make movies again, great. I just wish I liked it more. But I'm sure there will be a generation, there will be fans of this film for what it's trying to do. I'm very aware. I'm a 42-year-old man. I don't know how old you are. 30s?
Just 30.
And are you bang on 30?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, I feel really old now. You're bang on 30, so we're two men in the room talking about a film, and for the film that it is, it would be interesting to get a female point of view, female, perspective on it. But I wasn't fussed on it, but not for what the subject matter was, just that it was a bit of a mess.
Mm.
It was like you set out to make an omelette and you made scrambled eggs. And sometimes that's fine. Sometimes that's fine. Everybody likes a bit of eating mess now and again. I just wasn't fussed on it. But that's some I've been watching in the cinema. I've been watching a few films at home, but, what have you been watching?
Well, let's jump into RoboCop 2. The movie we both talked about last week, and then text each other at like 11 o'clock at night with screenshots of us watching
it. I watched it.
It's great. It's not as good as one, obviously, but it has a lot of quirks that I think work. Like, a lot of it works more than it doesn't.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's directed by Ivan Kirchner, who did
Empire Strikes Back.
And The Eyes of Laura Mars.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, it has a lot of like funny bits in it.
It's weird though, because I think I said to you when we talked about it with Nicole that it tries to have the ultra violence of the first.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of the satire with the ads.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've got the guy that's the head of the company in Gremlins 2. There's a great one with him, great cameo with him, where it's like the car alarm service and how to stop your car from getting nicked, basically, to kind of go localisms. All great kind of stuff. And then isn't there the one with the girl with the sun cream?
Yeah.
And she's like, you can sit outside in the LA sun for 45 minutes. And she's like, basically looks like something from James Cameron's Avatar. But as I say, it's great with that, but it's just this weird underlying kind of sense of humor to it all. As I said before, and I was right, I was vindicated. So there's a great sequence where RoboCop is trying to take down Kane, the most stereotypical drug boss. He's a bit of a bastard. Like, there's the wee kid, and he's like, here, you're just watching this fella getting dissected here, just keep watching. Just keep watching. And he's taking him down, and there's the sequence, they're driving in the car, and then there's like a lamppost. And from out of nowhere, it's like you hear a proper like ka-doing as RoboCop hits the lamppost. And yeah, you've got like the kind of Dr. Frankenstein thing going on with your girl that's trying to build RoboCop 2 and thinks that Kane is the perfect person for it.
Yeah.
Because of his old slushy addiction that is mysteriously, nuke.
Yeah. I don't know, it's like if you watch RoboCop 1 and RoboCop 2 back to back, you might die.
You'd have a ball.
You'll have a ball, but you might die of whiplash. Because at the end of RoboCop 1, where it's like, what's your name? Murphy. You're like, fuck yeah. And then you're like, yeah. And then going into RoboCop 2, you're like, why is he shooting at fucking kids?
I do love the bit when OCP reprogram him. And it's like all these different rules. And there's the great scene, I think I talked about it, where he's stopping the street party and, turns off the hydrant. And they're all like, boo, boo. And then the next minute he just turns around and there's the guy smoking, like, with a gun. Please stop smoking.
Do you like that, the blue tint of RoboCop?
Yeah, it's weird. I actually noticed that. And the also great line of Paul Weller. Not Paul Weller. That was a great line of Peter Weller, just with his, I'm having trouble. I do love it, and I'm intrigued to feel really dirty and actually go back and watch RoboCop 3, but I know I'll fucking hate it. I know I'll hate it, because even when I was younger and stupid and doing all the nonsense and fucking Project Mayhem and County Down, even then I knew RoboCop 3 was shite.
Yeah.
But RoboCop, the other thing I love in RoboCop 2 is the mayor.
Oh, yeah.
The mayor's just fucking brilliant. I want that guy just to be the mayor of Belfast.
He'd be better than our mayor, tell you. I don't even know how our mayor does.
Yeah.
I'll fly through these and you can stop me if you...
Yeah.
If, Ricky Stenicki.
Haven't seen it yet. I was going to watch it. I know James Oliver said he wasn't a huge fan of it. He thinks John Cena's just the best thing in it.
He is, and it kind of is a movie that the premise is better than the actual plot.
Yeah.
Because it kind of gets to the halfway point and you're like, oh, this should have ended. The Player, Robert Altman's The Player.
Oh.
Fantastic.
Tim Allen, isn't that?
No, Tim Robbins.
Tim Robbins.
With a really great role from...
How different would that be of Tim Allen?
What do you call him? Fucking Richard E. Grant.
Yeah.
Fantastic in it. Also, a great running joke with Bruce Willis in it. Don't know if you remember that.
No.
Anytime there's a scene and they're like pitching a movie, they're like, we should really get Bruce Willis. Finally watched Poor Things.
Oh.
Loved it.
Yeah. We actually talked about it in this week's TV show. The only thing, do you know what I will say? I really liked it. I mean, I am not the biggest fan of Yorgos Lanthimos, if I'm getting that right. I don't know. I can take or leave. I always, I remember, I think it might have been Mark Kermode talked about that. He finds humor in making people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I just do that naturally. I don't often find it as funny as others. This I've enjoyed more than some. I mean, I enjoyed this much more than The Favourite. I think, as I said in the TV show, it won 4 Academy Awards at the Oscars for costume production, costume design, makeup, and Emma Stone, of course. Those 4 things, I can't fault it. The only thing I'd maybe say is Mark Ruffalo deserved something because he's absolutely fab as this guy who thinks he's the bee's knees, but is literally reduced to an imbecile by the end of the film. And again, a bit like we was talking about there with Drive Away Dolls, it's interesting because I know Emma Stone talked about that sense of she viewed it as a film where as her character Bella Baxter grows, how men's attitudes towards her. And I think I maybe said this in the previous pod where when she was talking about that, it reminded me a little bit of Millie Bobby Brown, the girl from Stranger Things. And that, do you remember it got really creepy when she turned 18?
Oh, yeah.
And even she talked about it being really creepy about the media and how she went from being child actor to being, let's sexualize that little girl from Stranger Things. And you're like, that's weird.
It's the, it's the unspoken thing in Hollywood. Like when you had the, what do you call them? The twins? The Olsen twins. And fucking people were just counting down the days. And you're like, this is just weird. But I'll get, unfortunately, to that in a second. I know that sounds weird, but trust me. I watched Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Oh,
I give it 1 star, Jim. It was dog shit. And then about 2 days later, they announced that they're making a whole
Pooh-verse?
Yeah, making a whole Pooh-verse, which aptly named. Then I watched Purple Rain, right? And
had you seen it before?
I hadn't seen it before, but I do love Prince. I don't know why I'd never watched it before, but see when he comes out and sings Purple Rain at the end, I wrote on my letterbox, if you'd never seen Prince before and you were in that audience, you would have thought this was the first appearance of God on Earth. It's fucking fantastic. The movie itself, it's not great, but the live performances are spectacular.
You might be too young to remember this, but because we had all the kind of the Prince being the symbol and the artist formerly known as Prince nonsense. Do you remember, now I'm going to say a good few years ago, when Prince performed at the Brits?
I don't know.
And I remember it was like Prince was back to being Prince, and you're talking about that being like a god entering the room, but it was just like, holy fuck. Not that I was there and wasn't at the Brits kind of going, whoa! But I was watching it back when I was young enough to kind of care and watch the Brits live, other than maybe when Kylie Minogue did her thing coming out in the disc or Jerry Halliwell wore that dress. What can I say? I'm a teenage boy who went and fucking stole golf flags for after watching Fight Club. I'm impressionable. But I remember that performance and just when he got the guitar out and just going, fuck me, I need to see this guy live. And the closest, that's just a small digression just come to mind whenever you mention that. But yeah, that sequence in Purple Rains is amazing.
And it got me thinking the rest of the night. I was like, took my wee movie making mind. I'm like, who would I cast as Prince? Donald Glover? Because he can sing, he can do it all.
The old one?
Danny Glover?
Danny Glover, sorry, yeah.
I was going to do a Danny Glover single Purple Rain, but that's probably not good. Then I watched John McTiernan's Medicine Man.
Ooh.
You ever seen that shit?
That's Sean Connery, isn't it?
Sean Connery and...
Soundtrack's great for that, isn't it?
I don't remember really the soundtrack. Lorraine Bronco from Goodfellas. Yeah, bad movie. Then I watched Turbulence. Because I seen it came out in 1987, and as I said before, 1987, good year for movies. Not Turbulence though, dog shit. Did you ever see Turbulence?
It rings a bell.
Ray Liotta.
It rings a bell, and I'll probably need to go back and rewatch it. But maybe on the basis of what you're going to say, I'm not going to bother.
No, it's poo-poo. It's Ray Liotta. Is like he's a criminal, and so is Brendan Gleeson, and they're like being transported on a plane. It's kind of like Con Air, and then Ray Liotta, like the start of the movie, he's literally talking like this. Oh, who wants a sweet drink? I like sweet drinks. Hiya, you're really nice. And then like halfway through the movie, because I was like, what is he doing? And then halfway through the movie, it's revealed, sorry to spoil it, that he is a fucking serial killer. And he starts doing like, Karen, sort of thing. But by then I was like, Fight Club, of course. John Cassavetes' husbands. I've been going through a real Cassavetes era recently. Loved it. Peter Falk, fantastic. And then I watched Lisa Frankenstein, which, much like Drive Away Dolls, I think it's just not a movie for me. If, teen girl. Although, I watched it with Heidi, and I was like, you're going to love this. It's your sort of thing. You love Jennifer's Body.
That's the eye.
And she watched about half of it and went, this is shite, and walked out.
Stared at a wall.
Adam
said it's fun.
I'm going to watch Don't Breathe too. Kind of just lingers. I can see what they're going for, but it's not as smart and quippy as your normal, like Dakota. Is it Dakota Johnson?
Diobla
Cody.
Yeah. If I'm getting that right.
And it's kind of just Tim Burton.
I do want to see it. I mean, I genuinely do want to see it because I am a fan of that screenwriter. I'm intrigued by it. I just haven't got the chance to see it. Maybe over the weekend. I know I'm going to see Ghostbusters. Well, in the weird kind of Inception. By the time this pod is out, I will have seen Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and I'm not working on the Sunday. My lovely wife and I are thinking of having a lazy day, so I might say, Mum, we'll go down and make use of our OmniPass. Other cinema chains are, of course, available, and maybe go see, not Young Frankenstein, love to see Young Frankenstein, Lisa Frankenstein.
And, of course, Immaculate South this weekend, Jim, so you might want to do a double bill.
We are going to move on. We're going to wrap up the show. The last couple of little features that we do, of course, we'll get some questions, and before that, we have to decide whether a story is worth our little jingle. And we've been teasing him for a couple of weeks. I think it's time, Adam. I think we finally give in. James Stafford from a podcast. So James Stafford, what's the podcast he does? Talking Codswallop. So I think we've been teasing him for a couple of weeks, but James Stafford messaged us in weeks ago with a story that was shocking. Shocking. I had dark hair before I started to listen to it. Now I am an old grey man. And you were just, you were just stunned when you heard the story.
You were driving and I almost flipped the car with pure...
it turned into like a scene from Bad Boys. That's kind of how shocking it was.
Do you know in planes, trains and automobiles when they go in between the trucks? Yeah. And it's like, I was like, you were like the devil. And I was like, ah...
Well, James Stafford was technically the devil. Yeah. We were just two traumatized men just trying to frantically just live.
Yeah.
We've teased them enough. I think it's time. Get ready, listeners, for a truly shocking experience.
So it's James Stafford from the Talking Codswallop podcast, and I have got I've got a story. It all seems to be linked to the same sort of film when it comes to unfortunate, weird situations at a cinema. It was going to try and see the film Batman vs Superman. Now I know a lot of people hate it, but I am a fan of it. I enjoy it. And the first time I went to try and see it, also was the words try and see it. It all went a bit wrong because I was reliably informed that the booking I made didn't exist. The showing was not happening at that specific time. To explain how I found this out, I'd gone to a viewing the evening before where they were showing Man of Steel. And they seemed to start doing this at this particular cinema chain. If it was a sequel to a film, they would show the films before then to obviously bring more people in and keep the customers interested and help them, certainly refresh their memory. But yeah, I was told that the viewing I booked tickets for didn't exist at all. But anyway, they managed to rearrange it all for me. The more interesting and bizarre experience I had trying to see this film is I went with one of my friends and we'd gone to the VIP section of the cinema, and we were sat having some popcorn before the viewing of the film. Oh wait, actually there's even more to it than that. So I'd gone in, and there is an echo of the original prom. We went in to try and see this showing, and the man went, well, actually, it's not on, I'm afraid, at this time. We can give you a free ticket, something else. Or we can give you an entirely open free ticket, or you can see a film beforehand or whatever. But we decided to go with the free ticket. But anyway, when we'd finally gone to the later showing of it, we're sat in the VIP section, and we're having our popcorn and drink and enjoying ourselves, and suddenly we saw a mouse scoot along the floor at high speed, and we both turned and looked at each other and like, what the? Did we just see what we thought we saw? So we told the staff, and they then got the manager, who came in looking really worried. Really worried. He was like, I'm really sorry, this isn't something you want to see happen. Have some free tickets, something else. We ended up getting a lot of free tickets. It was very apologetic. But you could see where the problem was coming from. When they were going out to bring food to the to put in the warmers, they were spilling popcorn everywhere. And popcorn, I'm sure, is something that keeps a mouse happy and well fed. But we got to see the film, and regardless, as I've said, what everybody has their own view of the film, and a lot of people dislike it. I think it's a wonderful film. It's really enjoyable, and as far as I know, I've never seen a mouse in there again. But they do always say you're only so many feet from a mouse, so who knows? Who knows?
Adam, you're only ever so many feet from a mouse. Shocking. When James, you think the story is going to go one way, a master storyteller.
Of course.
That's why his podcast is much more successful than us, we have to say. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, a little mouse.
He should have got Lee Evans and Nathan Lane on the case. They would have taken care of that, no sweat.
There would have been none of that shit. And, yeah, we'll not kind of go into the whole Snyder thing, because we'll be here for another couple of hours with me ranting and raving about that. So I don't know, Adam. I'm going to allow it just for the thought of James in the cinema sitting down to watch his movie after, I think it's 1 or 2, sitting finally down, James finally getting the chance to sit down, watch his movie. There's my mouse. At least it's not a sexual story. I don't know what that mouse is getting up to in its free time. It might have a real fetish. I don't know, but it's not a sex story. So I'm going to allow it for our little jingle. Are you?
I think this time, even though I've never said no before, this time I'll allow it.
Okay, so there we go. James, this is for you.
Jesus, that's awful.
Right, okay, so that's another horror story. If you think you can top James's story, get in touch. And with that, we're going to wrap things up. And as always, we do finish with a little question. And I've seen this one on our Twitter, because again, we were a bit rushed today when we were doing the pod. We were going to do it a couple of days later. But unfortunately, just for me, messing everybody about. And I thought one that caught my attention was, we were asked on Twitter, if you were to fight any NI celebrity, who would it be and why?
Now, who can we say without getting in trouble?
Yeah, who you have to think about this, because would you want to fight them and lose? Or would you want to fight them and think, I have a good chance of beating this person, so therefore I can claim, the glory of the victory, but also you have to be careful because of its, I don't know, someone like Paul Clark from UTV. Are you going to really be boasting about the fact here, I was at the cinema and beat the shit out of Paul Clark?
Paul Clark, lovely man.
Yeah.
See, whenever I seen that question being prompted immediately in my head, I know he's really dead. I imagined me beating to death Jimmy Young. Is that his name? Yeah. From our Jimmy?
Yeah.
Just me pummeling a fucking old man to death.
But would you be proud of yourself?
I guess so. I don't know, because I suppose the funny answer is Julian from UTV.
Yeah.
But I'd love to have Julian on the podcast.
Yeah.
It would be fantastic. Guarantee he's never watched a movie in his life.
I'd say maybe he's watched maybe 1 or 2.
Well, he did used to be a flight attendant, didn't he? So
yeah.
he probably watched one of the you know, on
the
board.
flight attendant. Terminal. He's probably the terminal.
Now on UTV, he's stuck in the fucking terminal. So yes. I don't know.
I think he was really disappointed when he watched Planes, Trains and Automobiles.
He's like, planes are hardly in this.
Where the fuck? There's no flight attendants and all this. Nose on him like a cooker hood, Jesus.
On our day, chase up to no gate in Coronation Street.
So, yeah, you're going to beat the shit out of someone that's already dead and claim the victory. And just be like, yeah. I'd love to say I've put a lot of thought into this, but I just remembered that question. So, Julian, yeah, it was always, well, that's what people want us to say, but no. And then part of me is like, well, Sam Neill is technically from Northern Ireland because he was born in Omagh. I rant and rave about this. We're going to claim him. He was born in Omagh. So if Sam's listening, you know, come home. But no, I'd want to just sit and maybe have some of Sam Neill's wine. I wouldn't want to fight with him. You know, definitely not.
Do you know who actually would be a good one? Van Morrison.
Oh, he's just a bastard.
I know, but because he always sits with his back to the audience. Clock him right in the fucking back of the head.
And just sit back down your seat.
Yeah, he'd be like, who did that? Because he talks like an old Southern man. Yeah. Who would be a fair fight, do you think? Do you think you could take on Frank Mitchell?
I reckon Frank Mitchell would fight dirty.
Think so?
Yeah.
Where's he from?
Somewhere. I reckon Frank Mitchell would be the type of person you'd be getting ready for the fight and he'd just fucking throw sand in your face. You'd be like, oh, fucking X-Men, doof. And you're down.
Yeah. Barbest?
Yeah, actually, Barbest, yeah. I'm trying to think any celebrity.
We've literally named just everybody from UTV. We could scrap them all.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
You may look out Pamela Ballantyne.
Yeah, douche. Just walking around, just douche. Any celebrity. I'm trying to think of someone though really niche though.
I know. What did you call the really famous chef from here in the early 2000s? Paul.
I know who you mean.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He had his own soda farts.
Yeah. Paul Rankin.
I'd slap a fuck out of Paul Rankin.
I remember.
By the way, I'm only just joking. If Paul Rankin's listening, I'm only joking. You make lovely potato farts.
You do. Can we have some, please?
Yeah. Sorry, your
I
restaurant's
actually once met Paul Rankin because I was taking my wife to his restaurant for her birthday, and I was arrived in early to leave the cake. And I rang the buzzer, and he came out, and he was quite like, hello, what do you want? It's like, my wife and I are coming here for dinner tonight, and it's her, I don't know, 30th birthday. Is a cake? Could you give it out later on? He's like, yeah, fine, and took it off me.
Oh, he sounds like he's getting slapped.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't sound very nice.
But we did get the cake.
Oh,
and they put sparklers in it.
Oh.
So there you go. Maybe if you're going for that, would you want to fight Michael Dean or something like that? But no, he's another big chef here. This is just kind of going like, who can Jim think of from Northern Ireland? Oh, do you know what? I don't know his name. Actually, this is someone I actually used to hate, and I'm sure he's lovely in real life.
Mm-hmm.
But remember the Northern Irish guy that used to be in Hollyoaks? No.
Yes, no, I do. Yes, blonde guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just took a dislike to him just for the simple fact that he was really kind of over-egging the Northern Irish accent. And yeah, maybe him, or just bring it topical, the English fella from Derry Girls. I know he's not really from here, but you're like, douche.
Yeah. Do you want to hear something funny? Years ago, whenever Derry Girls was first starting up,
you offered the role of the English fella?
I was, and I was like,
you fat lesbian, you were offered the role first.
I was like, my tits are too big. I was on.
You was going, could have been me.
I couldn't do the Derry accent.
I could have been on Bridgerton.
Fuck, imagine me. Oh, yeah. No, wait, sorry. Going tangent. Trying to wrap up the show. I was on Tinder, and do you know what, like, for a fun, like, I'll put up a picture of a girl, and we'll have a bit of crack while we're drinking, flirting with people.
You're a creep.
No. Well,
listeners, Adam's a creep.
I had my eyes fucking opened about what women get on Tinder. Yeah. Terrible. But one of the people I matched with was your man from fucking Derry Girls. He didn't respond, so I can't be like he's a bastard. But just saying.
Could have been. That could have been the relationship, you know, that could have been the making of you, Adam. Just every time you met him, just holding a photo up.
Do the fucking 4 lions, like, covered my beard with my hands.
You know, you and him could have been on Jerry Springer. I didn't know he was a man.
I take away my hands and do a backflip. I'm not to follow your Bible.
I feel we've rambled enough. So who have you settled on? You want to fight someone that's already dead? You
no.
changing your answer?
I know. The Tato man.
See, I don't even want to fight the Southern Tato.
That's it. I know what we'll do. We'll do a fucking Dudley Boys, the Hardys ladder match. Me and you versus the two Tato men. This WrestleMania.
Yeah, make it happen. Make it happen, people. Or maybe we could do that before a screening of Darby Gill and the Little People next year.
Be like, who's better? Oh no, wait, should
hang on. Actually, I'm going to change this about. Do you not think maybe it should be a tag team? You can have the Southern Tato, and I can have the Northern Tato, and we can fight each other. Except, I don't know if I could fight you.
No, it'll be like they do now, where it's like
could we be the managers, that type of. Who's Undertaker's manager? For you?
Paul Bearer.
Paul Bearer. Can I just be walking around the place like Paul Bearer? And I'm going to have Mr. Tato, the proper, true Mr. Tato, coming in full non-copyright infringing Undertaker.
And do you remember WrestleMania 25, where the Undertaker came from below?
Yeah.
And because Shawn Michaels religious, he came from the heavens.
Yeah.
Imagine the Tato man lowering from the heavens.
The only reason why this is in my head is because Gav from Fright Club was sharing on Twitter. But remember when Undertaker came back, he had been kind of like the
American Badass.
American Badass. It was like, not the Undertaker, and then he came back as from the dead as the true Undertaker, and there was all the kind of flames, everything, the people down with the flames and the music, everything. Imagine that. I'm going to be Paul Bearer, and Mr. Tato is coming down. I think we've got a bona fide hit. So that plus a screening of Darby O'Gill and the Little People, and I'm sure I'll speak to him now. Chris Ellis could do us a print. Tenner.
100%.
So I think on that bombshell, as Adam and I go and prepare to plan, I think the event of 2025, I think we shall wrap things up. Next week, as I say, we're going to be back talking about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. We're going to have someone from Ghostbusters Ireland on with us talking about that. So you have that to look forward to. As always, you can check out our previous back catalogue as well. It's all there. Go for wherever you get your podcasts and Fix, Spotify, or wherever you actually get it on YouTube now as well. So that's all there. Check the TV show as well on our YouTube channel. All that's really left for me to do now is thank you very much, Adam.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks very much for listening. We'll be back next week, as I say, with another pod. But for now, until then, what's happening?
Bye.